Hello and welcome back to Backstage at the Doudna. I'm Dwight Vaught, your host. This week, our performers are a group of dancers and musicians from the island of Bali. Cudamani spent a few days in Coles County as part of the Arts Midwest World Fest tour. We've been privileged to host Arts Midwest World Fest performers over the last couple of years, and this is the final in our two-year partnership with Arts Midwest World Fest. In April of 2013, they brought to our stage a vibrant, technical, and free-spirited production. Their show brings to life vivid tales of gods, heroes, and the cosmos in Balinese mythology that transports audiences to the rich islands of Indonesia.
We have heard over the course of our travels through the Midwest that Balinese gamelan is not something that everyone is really familiar with, and that it's sometimes helpful for us to break things down a little bit. So we thought we would begin the program by doing that. Before I do that, I want to introduce our director. This is Pat Dewa Brata. He's the director of Cudamani. And I will go ahead and introduce the rest of the musicians and dancers as we go along with a little bit of a demonstration about the music, and I hope it's okay, but as we go along, I'll talk a little bit about some philosophies that are integrated into the music itself. So if Ratna and Ayuka could go ahead and get started on the beat and the gong, we'll get going. Terima kasih. Sure how much everyone knows about Bali, so we'll just give a little background, which is that most Balinese are Hindu. If you were to see this ensemble, Cudamani in particular, performing one of the most important places where we perform our Balinese ceremonies, a temple ceremony or a house ceremony or a wedding ceremony, one of the fundamental ideas of Hinduism is the idea of reincarnation, the idea of time traveling in circles and cycles rather than in a straight line. So you can see that in the gong cycle. Every time we get to that big gong, which is coming up right there, it is the beginning and the end of every musical cycle. So that will be the case not just for this piece, but for every piece that you hear this evening. Kade Ayu and Eka will introduce you to the basic melody of the piece. These instruments are called jublag. Silakan. The basic melody, and I'm introducing everyone as partners because everyone is working with a partner, and this is not an accident. This is really something that's fundamental to Balinese music and to Balinese life. The idea of working in partners, the idea of working together is really critical, and you can see that in the music and the dance. Surya and Gangsar are the next set of partners that will show you their instruments, which are called gangsa. Silakan. Called the polos part, and gangsar is called the sangse. So I don't know if you can see, but with their right hand, obviously, they're striking the instrument, but with their left hand, they're also damping it. Underneath the bronze keys, there are bamboo resonators, which create a beautiful sound, but in order for your partner to be able to fit in between your strikes, you have to damp your key, and this is kind of symbolic also of the importance of listening as well as speaking. They have another pattern which is called nyogjag, which is to jump around. Silakan. So Surya is basically doubling the main beat, and gangsar is never on the beat. So as they're playing later, remember they'll probably be playing it about 2 or 3 times that speed at least. And one of the reasons this is enjoyable rather than frightening is that Surya and Gangsar have been friends. They live 2 doors away from each other. They have grown up together. They've played music together since the first day they started playing. So they are partners not just in music, they know each other very well. And so when one of them is playing something, it's not difficult, it's fun for the other one to try to anticipate where there might be a space for him to fit something in. So Pak Dewa here, and Pak Agung will show us the instruments we call reyong. Silakan. Kiletan, and to makilet is to be intertwined with one another, like the vines of a tree, or like sweethearts or your best friend, someone in your life who you love so much you always want to be together. You feel like your heart is intertwined with theirs. That is the same word that we use for our interlocking. So we use it for our feelings and we use it for our music. The next pattern they're going to demonstrate is called norod, and in this one there's a lot of freedom to improvise. Silakan Pak Dewa. Partner that they work with, Kadek Benot here, is on the Cheng Cheng center stage. Those are small cymbals, and they have a series of patterns that are called angsals, which are pure rhythmic patterns. Silakan. These are the kendang, or the drums, and they are a male and female drum. Again, going back to the ideas of partnership, this fits into a larger philosophy that we call Rua Bineda, which means two. Rua means two, Bineda means different. The idea that there are complementary opposites in the universe. So good and bad and happy and sad, night and day, male and female, are things that are opposite in their energy, but when they come together, they create a unified whole that is the balance that we are seeking. So in the drum, we have the male drum and the female drum. Eric will start on the male drum. Silakan. And Dewarai on the female drum. So we're going to put them all together, and you can hear them playing together. And as we do this, you can listen to the instruments, of course, but it's also interesting to look at the faces of the musicians, because there's a lot of communication happening. There's obviously no written notation. There's no conductor. The drummers are the musical leaders of the ensemble. They are allowed to change the tempo and give a lot of musical direction, but the other musicians are constantly looking at each other to agree on what might come next, or to acknowledge that someone's done something clever or funny or wrong or something like that. So this kind of interaction is part of what makes playing gamelan really fun for us. So silakan Surya.
We're here with Emiko, who is with the group Cudamani, and it has been such a pleasure to have you here all week, and we're just looking forward to the final performance. So thank you for being with us and spending a few minutes.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for having us here at Charleston.
I wish we could talk to the whole group because the group is so rich, you know, just everybody there, and we've just had a great time getting to know them. But you as the associate director and as what you say, the mother hen of the group, so we can get all the ins and outs of Cudamani. So we'll take a trip to Bali for just a few minutes and talk to you about your home country and this group. Cudamani is a name for a gamelan, which is a group of musicians and dancers. Explain the gamelan concept first in Balinese culture, and then we'll talk about Cudamani as a group.
Sure. Gamelan refers to the instruments, and it's often also used to refer to the group of musicians who are playing on those instruments. The instruments themselves are one set. They are made together, they have to be played together, they're not interchangeable with any other instruments. And that, in a way, reflects how the musicians are also. Although musicians can play with different groups, really they have a home group, they have someone who feels like family, and in Cudamani everyone actually is family. Not everyone, but you know, most people are family, and we've been playing together for a very long time. And I think that really reflects what a gamelan is. It's not just a set of instruments, it's not just a group of people, it's really a family of people who work together.
And your history is both in Bali and the U.S. Obviously your English is quite good, so you've lived here for a while as well as Bali. So tell us a little bit about your history and then how you ended up back in Bali.
Well, my father is Indonesian, so my father's from Central Java, which is just the next island over. He was actually the first gamelan teacher to come to the U.S. and teach. And he is also a dancer, and my mom was also a dancer. So they're not actively performing now, but I was fortunate to be around artists as I was growing up and nurtured by my whole family. But I was born in Hawaii and I grew up in California, but I went back to Indonesia to visit family, and I was always in the environment of the gamelan because there are a lot of gamelans in California. So I grew up around gamelan even though I was in California. And then I went to Indonesia as a young adult and decided to see if I could really live my life there or spend large periods of time there.
So now you're not currently performing as a part of the gamelan, you're more just the mother hen, as we described it. The associate director sort of keeps the tour going and talks with folks like me and talks with community audiences. What is your role now, both as a musician and just a part of the gamelan?
Well, Monday through Friday, I'm really the mother hen who keeps everyone or tries to keep everyone on schedule and make sure that we work well with the, middle school bell schedule and things like that. But tonight, when we have our performance, I get to perform. So I get to play music, and I get to sing, and I get to dance. So it'll be really fun. So I'm really fortunate. I get to do the best of all worlds. I get to meet all these amazing teachers and administrators and students, and I also get to, to talk about Balinese culture, which is amazing, and I also get to dance and sing and play music, so I'm pretty lucky.
Your husband, Dewa Putu, if I said his name correctly, is the director and is the founder of this particular gamelan?
Yes, he's the founding director of the gamelan.
So it also has connected with it a school. So explain a little bit about that, what you do when you're not touring and just performing, but Cudamani as a whole has another component to it.
Yeah, well, we have a very active organization at home. We have a school which kids come to after school, which teaches children from kindergarten all the way up through high school. And that, offers Balinese music, Balinese dance, and things like that. A lot of our families are involved in things like painting the costumes, so we have a visual arts element also that's integrated into the performance. But essentially, when kids are really young, we just offer it as something that they can do so that they can have, something that they love to do and they do it together. And it, to be honest, when they get to be youth, unfortunately in Bali we have problems similar to what we have here. We have alcohol, we have drugs, there's even prostitution. There are problems in Bali, and to be honest, once people are youth, they have their own ideas, and it's sometimes easier for someone outside of your immediate family to kind of hold on to you and help you and nurture you. And so we're very fortunate that a lot of our students we begin with as elementary school kids, and we become very close to them. And when they're in their youth, you know, middle school and high school, a lot of times we are really an important part of their extended family, and they're amazing performers. Amazing. Some of the little ones, second graders, third graders, they are just to die for. Cute. They're so beautiful. And then youth are just stunning. They're so powerful, and some of them are so talented. And when you get them to be focused on something positive and get them to feel good about what they're doing and get them to feel proud of something that they've accomplished, it's amazing. And so that's really at the heart of our ensemble, is our children and our youth. And you know, some of them decide to go into other fields, which is fine, it's great, and they take what they have learned with them. They learn a lot about discipline and long-term planning and making a commitment and hard work, and those are really useful skills in any field. And some of them stay on with us as performers, and some of them will be performing tonight with us.
No really young folks touring, but you have some youth in your gamelan who are with us.
We do. We have our youngest member touring with us now is 17, so she's a junior in high school, and it's been so fun for her to see all the high school students. We have two girls who just finished high school, and they have just also they've been so interested in the high schools, but also, you know, we've been visiting college campuses. We're here at Eastern, and so to look at what a college campus is here, to meet college students here, it's really important for them. It's a formative time of their life, and to be able to see what Americans are doing and how, you know, people think of education here is really important. As
a part of Arts Midwest, you've been to several states, or you are going on this particular tour. What's your impression, the first time having been into this part of Illinois? This is Abraham Lincoln country and corn country, and what's the impression of the group, just being here, seeing our country and getting to know our people?
I think the group has felt really comfortable and very at home. It's funny because we're from so far away, and we've really been honored and had the pleasure of touring to wonderful big cities like New York and, you know, Los Angeles. But you come here and it feels like you're kind of at home, you know? People are pretty mellow, people are very friendly and pretty relaxed, and you kind of feel safe. And I think the group has really enjoyed that. It feels like you can kind of stretch and take a breath of fresh air and enjoy people that are around you. I think they've liked that a lot.
Because some of us have not been to Bali, and maybe we will at some future point. What would you like for us to experience in Bali? Tell us about the richness and the treasure of your country.
Bali is a really special place. You know, whenever people asked Dewa about that, our director, he's always said, you know, Balinese culture is really special. It's very special. And I think, you know, having been raised in the US, I see that the integration of the arts and family and your community and your school, performance, teaching, learning, all of those things coming together in someone's life, just for your life, is quite powerful. It's really amazing. And I think for us, when we're coming from the US, to see something like that is really inspiring, to see how rich and how beautiful that can be. And it doesn't have to be fancy or extravagant or anything, you know. It could just be your parents are at your rehearsal, your parents are able to come to your performance, or you're able to go to your sister's performance, you know, or your grandparents are there, or you're performing at your grandmother's funeral, things like that, where your personal life is integrated into your arts and your family is there, and all of those things together are so beautiful. I love that about Bali.
The music itself of a gamelan, or the Balinese music, we call it non-Western because it doesn't fit some of the, you know, the Western sort of classical tradition that we're used to. So we might hear something that's a little bit different to our ear, see something in the dance that's a little bit different than what we say is dance for us. How do you classify that, having come from both a Western tradition and now living in Bali? But just tell us a little bit about what we hear or what we should hear when we're listening to a gamelan. What should stick out to us, and you know what we're seeing and watching.
Well, you know, I think when anyone goes into a performance, I always like for people to just be able to come in on their own terms. I think just keeping an open mind and expecting things to be a little bit different. I think, you know, sometimes we feel a connection with performers no matter where they're from, what they're singing, what their music is, and I think to just allow that to happen is something that's really beautiful. The idea of working together and being in immediate personal contact with other performers is something that's really important to us. So, watching people's faces, looking at people look at each other, I swear sometimes they deliberately make something that seems like it's a mistake. I mean, if you're a Balinese musician, but I don't actually think they're just making mistakes. They're fooling around with each other, they're teasing each other, they're doing something to make somebody else's job a little harder on the stage, but they love to have a good time. And I think that's one of the really beautiful things. Perfection is really not our goal. It's really about bringing something that gives us joy, that gives the audience joy, that helps us connect to one another. And sometimes in the imperfection is precisely where we can make that connection.
It is a really a holistic experience from being on stage. It's not just about the music, but as you've described to the school kids and to all of us, that everything that happens as a part of the Cudamani experience, whether it's costume, the particular use of color, the makeup, the facial expression, the particular instruments, it all has a meaning and it all tells a story and has a message to it.
That's very true. It is a holistic experience. It's not just about what you see and what you hear. It really is about what you feel, and I think everyone will feel it differently. And when you look at different performers, I know when I look at different performers, I feel different things. We had the opportunity to come and see the jazz performance, which was just such a gift to us. It was so beautiful, and I loved looking at every single musician, and every single one of them had their own personality, had their own energy, and I appreciated that so much. And I think, if people can come to a gamelan concert and feel that way about the gamelan musicians or about the dancers, then I think we've had a successful connection.
It's also about the makeup and the costumes and also the positions of the dancers, because as you described going through the educational, there's a male position, there's a female position, and again, that's the use of the body is really important in telling the story.
Yes. The body is really a powerful way to communicate, energy and character, and the costume and the makeup have to work very closely with that. So obviously the costume needs to allow you enough room to do the movement that you need to do. If you have a strong character, you need to be able to have a wider stance, a kind of bigger body position. If you're a very refined female character, then everything is much more controlled and the costume will be much more kind of tight around the body. And that is to define the lines. You can see the lines of the body really clearly if the costume is well designed. So that the costume, the makeup, the movement all work together to support the dancer in creating the character or the energy or the feeling that is needed at that particular moment. We have one piece which has kind of non-conventional costuming, which you'll see later tonight, which is fun. That piece is really about who we are off stage, because I think part of what is really fun about Cudamani and about any group of artists or any group of people is who they are just as people. And so we do have one piece where they have kind of freedom to decide what they're going to wear on stage.
And I believe it was you who mentioned that when you were going into the schools, one of the things that the school kids really noticed were the facial expressions, the position of the neck, the eyes, the wide eyes, and just how you would move the head, which is a little bit different even in Western dance. Western dance is a little bit more about just the body and the control of the movement of the body. But this is looking directly into the eyes and the face and what the face does to tell the story. And the kids are really just enamored by that.
Yes, facial expression is really important in Balinese life. There is a lot of communication that happens between people that's not verbal. From living there for so long, I've come to realize we're a very verbal culture here in the US, and we communicate a lot with words, and Balinese communicate a lot by looking at each other, by making eye contact, and you can really see that in the dance. And one of the beautiful things I think about the eye movements, there's this movement called Sledette where you move to the side, that one, which the kids are always fascinated by. And I think Dewa's explanation of that is so beautiful, where it's, a dancer or any person has a focus. You have something that you need to accomplish. You have a place you need to go. It's important to be focused on that place. But at the same time, it's important to be aware of what's around you. It's important to feel the person next to you, to know what this person needs here. So we can have that focus, but at the same time, we need to also be aware of our surroundings. And I think that's a beautiful philosophy in the eye movements of Balinese dance.
Well, it's going to be an amazing performance. I mean, we're looking forward to it. So, and then sorry that our association has to end, at least on the artistic side. We'll just carry it on to another level and then still remain friends. So we appreciate so much that Cudamani being here.
Oh, thank you. We're so happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.